Hello and welcome back to Third Eye Talks, incredible listeners. I am so excited to have my guest that I have here today. I came into contact with her through a wonderful community that's led by someone who you have all heard on the podcast before and who you've loved, Anne Marie McKenzie. So today I have joining me Kirsten Foss, and Kirsten is a business strategy in the health and wellness industry. And she's joining us all the way from Canada. So, hi, Kirsten.
Hello, hello. Good morning. Glad I'm here.
Yes, so same here. I am so glad that we've been able to connect. And, I've been so impressed with the as you've spoken about your business and as I've seen,
Mhm.
the things that you've sent along about your business. I'm very impressed by what you've done. And I know
Hmm.
that one of the topics that you wanted to discuss was how your business is your best life coach. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yes, this is it. We need this. So
Please say more.
yes, please tell me more. So if you could just take a minute and before we jump into that topic, just tell me a little bit about your background and you've been in business, it sounds like a very long time. So I always love to hear those stories. Tell me more about you.
Yes. Well, I jokingly say I'm unemployable because I've been self-employed for so long that it might be a little rough if I actually had to go get a job. So I've actually my trade is as an esthetician. And so I've been in the spa industry since my early 20s. I'm now 53, so that's a lot of years.
Wow.
So I started off as a service provider, but I always knew that I wanted to run my own business. And like this was 30 years ago before the spa industry was really the spa industry. And there were no like these big kind of facilities. So my dream was really I wanted to work with women. I wanted to work with women to support their self-confidence. And that really came from growing up with a mom who was really, really painfully shy. And it affected her life so profoundly. And her firstborn daughter is this like go-getter, outgoing. And so that's kind of what prompted my choice of career in aesthetics was it was a way to support women and their self-confidence. It just happened to be giving a facial or a pedicure, but it was just this really rich opportunity to connect with women and
Yeah.
support them in their own lives. And so I worked for a couple of years, got some skills under my belt, and then went out on my own. And starting your own business and growing your own business sounds like it's when you're getting started, it's all the fun stuff and really exciting. And then you get working in it and you are like, whoa, wait up now, hold on. Like, this is really hard. And way back then, this is kind of pre-internet, like you couldn't talk to anybody. You couldn't find any groups to connect with. So
Mhm.
I just ground it out on my own and figured it out. And so once I did learn how to kind of run the practical, tactical aspects of it, I realized, oh, it's not that hard. I just needed some training. I needed to know, I didn't need to get a bachelor's degree in business or economics. I just needed to know what I needed to know. And so, what was happening at that time before I had that training was I was totally cash strapped. I was literally hemorrhaging money in my business. I had just gone from solo to expanded into a team, and money was going out faster than it could come in. And my ex-husband, he was my ex-husband now, but he was like, when are you going to get paid? So it was super stressful, and all of these things were coming at me, like, money and abundance issues, communicating with my team as a leader. It was awkward. It felt like I didn't know what to say or do. Like I wanted to be friends, but I still had to lead this team. And so throughout my entrepreneurship, I started realizing that all of the stuff happening in my business, just like in life, it wasn't happening to me, it was happening for me. And as soon as I was able to see that the business was really just trying to show me those areas in my life that needed healing. And when you really look at it, your business is really, you're in a relationship with your business. It's just another mirror, just like if you're in a relationship with a person. So I really took that concept to heart. And whenever things come up in my business, I do look at it like, the first look is like, what the heck? Like, how can I turn this around? Or, how am I going to handle this one?
This
But
one.
really, I look at it now as, okay, what is this trying to teach me? What is it about this that I'm struggling with? Like, what is the issue? And why am I fighting it? Like, that's where the interesting part gets really interesting, is like, why am I fighting this? Like, what's really going on with my lack of cash flow?
I love that. I love that because you touched on the story of so many entrepreneurs. I'm sure that so many people listening in are like, yes, I've been there. I've been through the ups and downs. I've been through the excitement of launching my business and then the downs of being like, how am I going to keep the doors open in this business? And you're so right. It is always tied to our own journey. It's tied to what we're supposed to learn and you run into yourself. But it sounds like for you, on top of you really running into yourself and the things that you had going on as a business owner, you also kind of grew up with your business because you
Mhm.
started pretty early. So your business has not only been your life coach, but your parent.
Kind of, yeah, for sure. Like, it's been this guide for me that for a lot of years I didn't see it as a guide.
Yeah.
But, just kind of through experiencing it, and I'm the type of person that I I prefer to live my life with awareness. You know, if things go a little awry, yeah, I can have a little pity party at first, and that's fine. I'm entitled to that. But it really has made things so much easier for me, and as far as an entrepreneur, to have that willingness to look at my business in a different way, like not just business as business, but what is it trying to tell me and show me that
Mhm,
I can do?
mhm.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I have just, right off the bat is, how do you practice compassion for some of the tougher things that are happening in your business? Not just compassion with your business, but with yourself as a business owner. I'm sure you've run into that. How would you advise someone who's going through that to kind of navigate it?
Well, I got shown and I got to experience learning how to have compassion for myself in my business like about 4 years ago. And it came out as a really big, heavy lesson. My son was in a near fatal car accident, actually almost 4 years ago to the day. And like my whole world kind of blew up at that point, and I couldn't I couldn't really operate in my business. So my team picked up the slack for me. Luckily, I had systematized a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of my clients didn't actually know that I wasn't available for a couple of months. Like they knew what was going on, but my team was taking the bulk of the work for me. And so, through that event, we had a couple of deaths in the family. My husband, shortly after that, also had a heart attack. He survived it. So I had gone through multiple very stressful, very traumatic situations, and my brain was different. Like I couldn't function the same way. I didn't have the energy I had that I had before, just like capacity wise. And so, we're now at 2024, and I feel like just it's really only been this past year that I've been really able to feel like I have more energy and capacity to move forward in my business. And there were times where I was feeling so low that, I just didn't feel great about my business. But I also, at the same time, through a lot of counseling and a lot of self reflection and, working with trauma in trauma therapy, there is that big piece of learning how to have compassion for myself and that I'm just at where I'm at.
Mm,
And it was really big, and it doesn't have to even be that big. it's just kind of where you're at is where you're at. We've got life situations all over the place that happen. Life happens. And sometimes it's through those really big events that you kind of give over to, give over to God or whatever you want to call it. But you let go of all of the expectations you have of yourself. And sometimes all you have left is to give yourself is compassion.
Yeah.
So, my what I would say to other entrepreneurs is really just to give them permission, because I think sometimes we're just too hard on ourselves as entrepreneurs. Like we see what everybody else is doing and launching and making these big, huge monthly income.
Embarrassing to me.
And so like even if you don't have, even if this business is just a struggle for you, that's okay. It's just, it's just realizing that this business is really just like a big science experiment, really, when we think about it. I love to look at my business as a science experiment. I remind my clients to do that because it takes the expectation away of it has to be this. Like if I don't get this outcome, I'm not happy, or I didn't succeed, or I'm not a good business person.
Mhm.
So, it's through those situations that we can give ourselves a little bit of grace and a lot of compassion. And for my industry, this like beauty and spa and wellness, like we're constantly preaching self-love and self-care, and we're literally the worst at taking our own medicine. So sometimes my advice is just to be like, you know, it's okay to pause in your business. It's okay not to like be grinding it out or like have these big things going on. It's okay where you're at, and but just to have that awareness, like you're doing the best you can, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's where the compassion comes in.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true. I think, overall, business is trying to teach you something about yourself. And a lot of times it is that. It is to have more compassion with yourself because, if you have the heart to be an entrepreneur, you're already oh, you do a lot. And so you need to be aware of that and understand that your business is going to make you sometimes slow down and look at yourself. So I love that you're touching on that aspect of compassion. Now, if someone is, I've heard it a million times, the biggest thing for me in my business is, cash flow and cash and cash and cash. And that I think I always find it really amusing to listen to people talk about it because I'm like, yes, your business is trying to teach you about your own mindset and emotions around money. So
Yes. So much. It's kind of it's like that piece of like, well, I want to have like $20,000 months. Okay, but like your financial habits right now, can they manage a $20,000 month? Maybe not. So it's gonna wait to give you 20 grand until you've figured out some of your money habits and your money belief systems and how you do things.
yeah. So if someone is struggling with that, let's say right now, right? They're dealing with that cash flow situation or with they need to keep the doors open in their business. What would you say life is trying to coach them through? What are they really trying to learn through that experience?
Well, I think it's a little bit different for everyone. That's what I've noticed with my clients is sometimes it's about boundaries, like their own relationship with their boundaries.
Mhm.
And there's situations in our industry where like how that can show up is like giving away add-ons on your services and not charging for them, or having your pricing far too low. Like you can't actually keep it going if your prices are that low. So things like that, those are the things that show up that try to teach us. And so it's not necessarily any one thing. Sometimes I see it's about visibility. They're afraid to be visible.
Mhm.
That's huge with beauty and wellness. And like they want to just kind of be in their treatment rooms and do their treatments and not have to be outwards. And so that's the gift that they get to experience is coming out of their shells and being visible and positioning themselves as a subject matter expert. And that is super uncomfortable for most people to
Yeah.
kind of publicly put yourself out there. But you keep kneecapping yourself if you don't. Like
Mhm.
if you're kind of the best kept secret, how are you going to get cash flow?
Yeah.
So there's also some people are just like they've been spending, and like not being fiscally responsible. And it's again just the habits and the mindset around money. If that can have some attention and kind of clean up the practical pieces as well as the belief systems, we can start moving in the right direction for making better decisions. Like, like not bringing in a new piece of facial equipment for skincare that's expensive because you're hoping that it's going to bring more people in.
Yeah.
That's what sometimes happens. So rather than having like a being visible in their marketing and ramping that up, they'll spend, $5,000 on a new piece of equipment and hope that that's going to bring people in. So there's all sorts of different scenarios. Like we're all very tricky in how we can like avoid what our business actually really wants us to do.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
That is so, so accurate. So, one of my last questions is really, coaching, a big part of their responsibility is keeping you accountable, right? Making sure that you're doing some of the things that you're meant to be doing, some of the goals that you set for yourself. How do you think your business has a way of keeping you accountable?
Well, I think the most obvious way is cash flow. Like if you're struggling to get clients and to make those sales, that's that's the biggest one, I think.
Yes, I think that's where most business owners run into. I think it's either that or their people, like building a team, which it
Yes.
sounds, by the way, like you did build an incredible team who was able to pick up while you needed to take that time away. And that as a business owner is golden because I hear about all sorts of nightmares in hiring all of the time. So I'm sure there's a life coaching aspect to that, which is like relationships and your relationship
Totally.
with others.
Well, and that with when you have a team, it's so much about like with that relationships, it's about boundaries, like how to give what you should give without crossing the line in terms of like that's often a really hard piece for leadership is like stepping into a leadership role. Like I want to be friends with these people, but I'm a leader and there's a new relationship. And
Mhm.
so a lot of owners find it really difficult to have awkward or difficult conversations. That's a really big one. And if you're having troubles having difficult or awkward conversations at work with your team, I guarantee you're having a hard time with those at home.
Yes.
Same with boundaries. Like if you're struggling with boundaries at work, you're guaranteed you're struggling with them at home. And so it just kind of augments these issues in your personal life that are like, hey, yo, over here, we need some attention and can we clean this up?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why do you think, I know I said that was my last question, but I just had another one pop into my mind and I want to see your perspective on it. What do you think is the spiritual kind of lesson that entrepreneurs are looking for? Like, why would we set this challenge for ourselves to be entrepreneurs? What do you think is the spiritual meaning? Why did we choose that as something to do?
I think we chose this to make an impact for the
Mm,
people in our community. And we see how we can make an impact and how we can help other people feel good in their lives and for them to reach their highest potential. I know that in the beauty and wellness industry, like that's literally why everybody gets into it is because they see the potential of everybody and they're helping their communities reach their potential via whatever service that they're providing. It doesn't really matter, but it has to do with wanting to help people and to create a ripple effect in this world to make a better world. So it's a really beautiful spiritual purpose. And you know, there's when you think about all of the people that are in like health and wellness and spa and beauty, like that their whole purpose in their life is to make other people feel good
Mhm.
and just to create these beautiful ripple effects around that connect, so when I help one person, like just one woman, feeling more confident in their leadership and how to run their business, how to market their services, that person goes home to their families and they're teaching their children how to show up in a world. They're showing up with their partners in a way that is positive and creating ripple effects.
Mhm.
So it's not just the ripple effects with clients, it's the ripple effects that happens to us as entrepreneurs as we grow and learn kind of the spiritual messages of what our business is trying to share with us.
Ah, that was so beautiful. You're right. You're right. I always see entrepreneurs and their big thing is wanting to make a difference. And the majority of the time, that difference is in others, it's in other people. We really have a desire to improve the lives of the people around us. And I always, I have clients who are like, but why did I have to waste my time trying to learn this thing? Or why did I have to start in this other job? And I'm like, I guarantee you, you will see how that plays out in your business because everything, if you're an entrepreneur and you're meant to be an entrepreneur, everything from day one has been teaching you and kind of snowballing into this beautiful effect that becomes your business. So, if you're in corporate and you're like, what am I doing here? My real purpose is this. You're there to learn something. You're
Yeah.
gonna get it,
Yeah.
right?
You may
And
not
it-
see it right now, but it'll show up down the line. You're like, oh, okay, I get it now. That's how that little puzzle piece fit into the bigger puzzle.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, Kirsten, I'm so happy you were here today. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming to talk to us. Where can we find you
Mm.
and how can we get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can find me on my website at kirstenfoss.com. You can follow me on Instagram, it's Kirsten_Foss, or on Facebook, Kirsten Foss Coaching. I also have a Facebook group for beauty and wellness entrepreneurs called Spa Business Mastery. So if you'd like to be in there, there's lots of kind of peer supported information in there too.
Wonderful. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your expertise. And I'm so happy that Spirit led you down your journey.
Mm,
You're helping people to do this and to see their businesses as something more than just something that generates income. I mean, this is your best friend leading you and coaching you on. So thank you for bringing that topic to us and thank you for going out there and spreading that message. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
And to my listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next time on Third Eye Talks. Now go and have your business coach you.